So excuse me during this segment if I kind of dork out a lot, but this is one of the coolest interviews I've ever got to do. We're going to be joined now by UFC fighter. He's training out of the Jackson Wink Academy, Siyar the Great Bahar Dazada. Sir, thank you for being here. I mean, going to be in action at UFC 232. Can't wait to see you in action. And I remember your debut, the win over Paulo Thiago, the uppercut, him face planting. One of the greatest knockouts that I've seen in the UFC. It's such an honor to get to talk to you. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Mika. Good morning, Albuquerque. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys. And yes, I'll be the first fight of UFC 232, and I'm super excited. I'm fighting a guy who has a big mouth, and he's been talking too much jive. He's got to fall in 5. I tell you, he's got to fall in 5 because he's talking too much jive. He's been talking all over social media, saying that he's in shape and he's gonna beat me, this and that. He's in trouble.
Taking on Curtis Millender. Millender also known as a knockout artist. That's the way he got into the UFC, was knocking out guys on the regional scene. Do you think he's going to want to strike with you?
I think he has no choice but to strike with me. You know, I'm not going to give him an inch of anything else. He says he's a knockout artist, but really, if you look at his record, he went to Bellator, he lost to mediocre fighters, and then went out and fought some cans and knocked them out, and all of a sudden he was a superstar. And in the UFC, he fought a washed-out Thiago Alves and a scared Max Griffin, who was scared to death of punches. How can you fight somebody, strike with somebody if you're scared to death of punches? So these two fights is going to set him up for my fight, which is a perfect fight for me, and I cannot wait to put it on him. He's been running his mouth. I can't wait to punch his mouth.
Now, has he actually been tagging you in this stuff on social media, directing it towards you?
Yes. That's the thing that I find it disrespectful in a way, because to tag me is like entering in a zone that he's not allowed. He wants to get inside my head. But the question is, does he want to be inside my head? It's scary inside my head. It's not like everybody else's. And once that door locks behind him, it'll be me and him, and I'll be officially certified to whoop his ass, and I will.
Now, you've been through some tough fights. How do you look at this fight? Where do you size up Curtis Millender from your previous opponents? Where does he fit in?
I think he's not at the level of Paulo Thiago. When I knocked Paulo Thiago out, he's not at the level of I fought him in 2016. I fought him in 2016 after 800 days layoff. Brandon Thatch, who was a much better striker, very elusive striker, light on his feet, better kicks, better knees. He's not even at his level. So for some reason, his ego has gotten into his head that he thinks he can strike, and he thinks he's that superstar. But we will see on December 29.
So looking at the fight, with his reach advantage, does he have reach advantage? I think slightly
I
over
think
you?
he does. I think he does. But if you look at my opponents, most of them had reach advantage over me. Like, I fought at middleweight, a guy 6'3", and you saw what happened to him. The ref almost had me kill him before he stopped the fight, because he let the fight go a little bit longer than usual. So he's going to have the same fate as the guy 6'3" when I fought in middleweight in Holland.
So the only advantage that he has isn't a worry to you. That was going to be my question.
There is no. He has nothing that I haven't seen already. I grew up in Holland around striking. I grew up in Holland around Alistair Overeem and Tyrone Spong and all these guys, and he has nothing that can surprise me. Absolutely, literally, he has nothing. In Holland, we have a saying: if he ain't Dutch, he ain't much, as a striker.
So going into this fight, do you feel it sets up perfectly for you as kind of something to catapult you, to get you going again, to be able to kind of steal the hype that he's gotten?
Actually, I don't think this fight is going to catapult me. This fight is going to bring me down a little bit from where I was, because I was hoping a guy from top 10 or top 15 will take my fight, but they didn't. They chickened out. So I asked the UFC to give me a fight because I don't like too long layoffs in activity. So They matched me with him. Fine. I'm the first fight of the night. I've never fought an undercard. And it's disrespectful. And I'm coming down to his level. I have to come down to his level and fight an undercard. That's fine. I'll fight an undercard. And he's running his mouth. I'll shut him up.
Did you look at the card and think it's a stat card, seeing where you're put on it?
Well, I could at least headline the prelims, but that's fine. I'll fight this fight, and you'll see where I end up.
Were you surprised, or is it not really surprising sometimes how hard it is to get matchups?
It is very surprising, especially if they see you knock out a few guys, the way that I knocked out. I had a double knockout in my last fight. I knocked the guy out on his body, and I hit him before he hit the canvas. I knocked him out on his head too. So I see it as a double knockout.
I saw it as one of the most brutal things I've ever seen. I mean, you knew he was done with the body shot?
Oh, hell yes. Once I land that kick, it's done. Anything I land on you, you're done. Because my limbs, both hands and legs, there's a knockout in all four. And any one of them I land, I just know you're out. But on the way out, I just give him another one too.
The knockouts, is it your power? Is it the years of training? How are you so vicious?
Bad intentions. I throw everything with bad intentions. If I connect with anything I throw, you'll be out. That's how I train. That's how I hit mitts. If I go half an hour on mitts, it's half an hour, full speed, full power. I don't hold anything back, just like in a fight.
Do coaches not like to hold mitts for you? I could imagine that hurts them.
Coach Winklejohn, he's like, I get goosebumps every time you hit mitts with me. It's unbelievable, unreal how long you hit hard, and for a long period of time you keep hitting that hard. He's super excited. Every time we hit mitts, he laughs. Sometimes I punch the mitts out of his hand. He loves it. He loves it.
What is it going to take to get you one of those high-profile matchups so you can get the major notoriety you want?
I think the best way to do that is keep winning. At one point, they will have no choice but to fight me. So I'll keep winning, and they can't hide.
Looking just towards the event, you, John, Bhavan, all on the same card. You fought many times. Is there a different feeling when there's a lot of teammates for one card, the coaches, everybody's all focused on one date?
Oh, yes. We forgot Carlos Condit, by the way.
Carlos Condit also.
There are 4 of us on this card, and we're super excited, all of us. We've been training together in this camp, and we have had some great time training for this camp. Everybody was pushing each other. And after the hard sparring, we would go do abs, and after abs, we will go do a round of ground and pound. We all got it, man, this camp. We were pushing each other. There's great energy in the gym, great atmosphere. The coaches are awesome. Man, Coach Mike Winklejohn and Greg Jackson are 2 of the finest coaches in the entire world. Like, there's nobody that comes close to their greatness and their knowledge of MMA. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how great of a mind Greg Jackson's mind is for MMA, and Coach Winklejohn's mind for striking. It's just unreal. And not to forget Coach Chad Smith, who's also my wrestling coach. We've been drilling wrestling every day for the past 6-7 months. So, man, I'm on a different level now.
How much of an essential has that been, working on the wrestling, knowing with your striking, that's what a lot of the guys are going to want to do, is try to take you down and put you on your back?
Exactly. That's where see, here's the thing. Everybody wants to strike with you until you hit him a few good shots in his face, and then their eyes change. Once they got those big fish eyes, you know that they don't want to strike with you. They want to take you down and rest. That's when they start to dive and hold for dear life. Dive for your legs and hold for dear life. And you have to be able to stop them and just keep punishing them until you show them the door and they walk out.
Has MMA also been a frustrating thing at some of those points before you got good at the wrestling? When you're put on your back a couple times, it's happened. How frustrating can it be?
It's hell if you can't wrestle. It's hell. I've had a period that I wasn't that much dedicated to wrestling. I had a streak of bad luck with my right hand. I broke my right hand 12 times. Okay, I broke my right hand 12 times, and it set me up for the fight that I fought in Japan. I was taken down the entire round, the entire fight. And I didn't do a lot of groundwork for that whole year leading up to that fight, because I broke my hand time after time after time, and my hand was in cast, and I just trained my striking, my other except my right hand. But that set me up for that loss. And then I fought in 2013. I fought in Vegas with both shoulders completely damaged. Okay, 3 weeks out, I didn't even train. My shoulders were completely damaged. I had I had both bicep tendons cut, completely detached rotator cuffs, labrums, I mean, and damaged rotator cuff. I still got 2 shots at my shoulders, and I went and fought, and I unfortunately lost a decision. Those are the 2 losses that I have in the UFC, and ever since I came back to Albuquerque, I had an 800 days layoff. I got surgery on both shoulders, and I came back. And when I came back, Albuquerque treated me like son, you know, treated me like family, especially Coach Greg Jackson. I still remember the day that I came to Albuquerque, and Coach Greg Jackson looked at me, and he introduced me to a friend of his who came to the gym. He said, he's one of the welterweights. That's exactly what he said. These are his words. He said, he's one of the welterweights who's here, and we're going to bring him here. And that's exactly what he did. And that felt really good, hearing that from Coach Greg Jackson. And he could have not given me that much attention or the confidence that I needed at the time, but he did. And I'll never forget it. He and Coach Winklejohn will always have my loyalty. So will Albuquerque. Albuquerque is my city of redemption. I came here with 2 losses in an 800 days layoff, and Albuquerque built me back up, put me back on my horse, and now I'm back on my horse with my sword in my hand, and I'm fighting.
We're joined today by Sierra Baharzada. He's opening up the UFC 232 card, and we're not letting him get away that quick. After a short commercial break, we'll be back with more of this great interview.
This is Coach Borrego of the Charlotte Hornets. Hello to all you parents out there in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I want to congratulate 38 years for the AYBL. You guys are doing a great job. You've shaped a lot of lives, young men and women, and you'll continue to do that. Parents, get involved, sign your kid up. It's a great program. It helped shape who I am today, helped shape me as a basketball player, as a coach. So get out there, sign them up.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlings, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
At Gala Chevrolet, our master technicians service every make and model no matter where you purchase your vehicle. But that's not all. We also provide certified service on every GM model. So if your car's been acting a little funny lately or something just doesn't seem right, don't wait. Bring it into the most modern service facility in the entire state and let us make sure that you're driving a vehicle you and your family can depend on. Service done right the first time, every time, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet.
Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Shut up.
Shut up!
Ah!
That's why State Farm is there, with car insurance for when things go wrong, but also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
Talk to State Farm agent Marty Size or Michelle Rudolph in Albuquerque today.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad
Crafter! Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
We're back. We're talking more MMA, and we're going to hear more about Sierra Baharzadeh. Let's hear about how, out of all the great places you've trained, how you settled on Albuquerque. I know you started off in Amsterdam, your striking career, been Florida, California. How do you settle on Albuquerque?
There's a saying that they say, if you look for treasure, you should look in ruins. I'm not saying that Albuquerque is ruined, but Albuquerque, I see Albuquerque as a city of greatness, not city of entertainment. I grew up in Holland, right? So in Amsterdam, there were good gyms, but not at this level. But entertainment was great. I had friends, I had family, everybody was there. But I wanted more out of my career, and I couldn't get it out of that in Holland. So I came to, but then I went to Black Zillions in South Florida. It was nice too. Then I started, actually first to California, then for like a year and a half, 2 years in California. Then I went to Black Zillions for like 2 years. After I got the injuries, I went back to Holland. I had an 800 days layoff. I thought things over, and I thought, man, if I want greatness, I have to go to a gym that makes champions, that allows me to at least gives me a shot at that greatness. So I looked at John Jones at the time, and later other fighters who were training here, Cowboy Cerrone, and I thought, and I listened to Greg Jackson while he was coaching in the corner, and GSP, of course, when he was cornering GSP too. I was always fascinated by how he made fighters calm, and how he instructed them to go to the second round, and third round, and fourth round, and fifth round. And I thought to myself, you know what, I think Albuquerque is the right place for me. And then at that time, my friend Alistair Overeem came here, and he was training here. Same problem with Alistair Overeem. He had 2 back-to-back losses, and he came here and started training in Albuquerque, and he started winning. And he invited me to come over, and he was like, this place is nice, it's a high altitude, the coaches are great, you should come out. I said, I already knew that I was gonna be ending up in a place like Albuquerque, because I was very much into how the leadership was in this gym. So I came out, and ever since I came out here, and I clicked with Coach Greg Jackson, and started working with him. I was depressed to shed the first few months. I'm not gonna hide it. I grew up in a city like Amsterdam, and then I went to South Florida, and then California, then South Florida. These are the cities of entertainment mostly. Coming out to Albuquerque, I really was depressed. I got so depressed that it affected my training at first. But then, as I started winning, I fell in love with Albuquerque, because this city redeemed me. This city put me back on my horse, and I started winning again. So right now, I'm totally in love with Albuquerque. I've been here 7 months. I've had the best time of my life training every day, 3-4 times, and enjoying just the way Albuquerque is. Go to the mountains, just enjoy the nature as is. And as I'm here to look for greatness, I don't look for entertainment. And this city has given me that, and I'm very thankful to Albuquerque, and I will definitely give something back for the community as soon as I can, and do whatever I can for the community, because this city has given me a lot.
What were some of those holes that you felt that you had to, fill in to make it to championship level, to get where you want to go?
great coaching. I needed a great coach. That's all I needed. And Coach Greg Jackson is a general, and I'm a soldier. And whatever he says, I do. And Coach Winklejohn, same thing. He's the general, I'm the soldier. Whatever he say, I do. I don't doubt them. If my eyes are closed and I'm standing in front of a red light or in front of the stoplights, and they say walk, I'm not going to question them if it's green or red. I'm just going to walk. And that shows when they say something, when they call something in the corner, just do it. I would just do it. I don't think, no, it's not a good time, or should I do it or hesitate? No, I just do it.
Now on the 3-fight win streak, how hard was it to persevere through the back-to-back losses, coming over to the UFC with the kind of hype that you had as the biggest free agent welterweight at that time, as one of the biggest superstars coming over, and the high expectations, even especially after that Paulo Thiago win? What was it like emotionally dealing with the ups and downs so far?
When I had 2 back-to-back losses, I'm not going to hide it, and I'm not afraid to say it, I was depressed. I was very depressed. I was so depressed that I didn't know what was going to happen with my life. But even being that depressed, I knew I was going to come back, and I knew I was going to dominate. I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. I knew what mistakes I made to lose those fights. And even the guy who did the surgery on my shoulder, he was a good friend of mine in Holland. He's a great surgeon. And he told me, see, I'm very happy you have a diploma in economics. Fighting's not going to be an option for you with these shoulders after you finish. And you should look for a job in your field of study. When he said that, I literally looked at him and started laughing. I was like, really? You're stupid, man. He started laughing. He said, why do you say that? I said, if you think I'm not going to come back and start winning, you don't know me. Your job was to do the surgeries. Did you fix my shoulders? He said, your shoulders are going to be stronger than before, but do you want to risk it again? I said, I will risk it. Of course I will risk it. If you made my shoulders stronger than before, I'm going to come back and I'm going to dominate. I'm going to smash the entire division. I thought my 30% was enough for this division. Now you fix my shoulders, I'm going to be in shape, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to dominate. He started laughing. And when I fought in Holland in 2017, he was a UFC doctor in that event. And after I won, he came to my room and he was crying. He said, I never saw this day coming, that you would come back with these shoulders that I operated, that I saw what was wrong with it. I fixed it, but you came back and you won, and I'm lost for words. I looked at them, I said, this is the start of it. It's not over yet. Wait and see where I rise. Because I have this belief in myself that nothing and nobody can stop me. If I have a leadership in my corner, like Coach Greg Jackson and Mike Winklejohn and Chad Smith, who have been with me for the past 3 years, and they have changed my entire outlook on MMA and on fighting, especially Coach Greg Jackson, he says things to me that catapults me into a higher level, like without even training, just mentally. He is a great coach who sees the perfect ingredients in me, and he picks them out, and he works on those, and he knows what I need work on, and he picks those out, and he makes all my flaws my strengths.
What have been some of those changes in how you're looking at the game? How has that changed?
Just by talking to Greg Jackson. The way he puts it out, the way he explains the game, it's like you're playing chess, and there's a guy who is really, really good at chess, and he advises you what to do. And you're fighting somebody who's evenly at your level, or maybe lower or higher for a little bit from your level, but then you have a great guy behind your ears talking to you, telling you what to do. Of course you'll beat the guy in front of you.
And was it more, what was it before? More a little rock'em sock'em robots kind of? A little
before
more forward?
It was more like, if I'm 30%, it's enough. I'm that talented and I hit hard and I have a strong will. I thought my 30% will be enough for any welterweight alive. But when I started training with Greg Jackson, I looked at the game differently. I said, if you're not in shape and if you don't have a game plan, if you don't plan what you're doing in fighting, anybody can go and swing and get 2, 3 wins, and there will be a day that people will come and stop him. But if there is a method to your fighting, and you don't fight the same way twice, nobody can prepare for you.
So it's you having a full bag of tools and using
I
different
have a
ones?
bag of tools that's there are techniques that I haven't used, not even in fights, and I have so many tools in that box, and I'm not going to use all of them, but I'm going to pick which one is good for a specific fight, and I'm going to use those, and that's what Greg Jackson taught me.
And going back to the same metaphor, was it before you were almost just happy using a hammer and a screwdriver? You had kind of your favorite ones and would just continually use those tools?
Yes. And just to give you an example, my last fight, Coach Greg Jackson, the first thing he showed me was that kick that I knocked that guy out with. He said, throw this kick, you're going to knock him out. And I throw that kick so many times in that training camp that the guy with a body protector would go down. That's how hard I started kicking with that technique. And when the fight was there, I throw that kick without even thinking. And when it connected, I knew he was out. I just knew it. But then I didn't want him to go out on a body shot, so I ended it with an uppercut. So it's a clean knockout. And I wanted the bonus, and I got the bonus.
So mentally, using more tools, what else has been the benefits now of the transitions and the changes that you've made?
Other benefits are that Albuquerque is, like I said, a city of greatness. I don't want to call it boring. A city of greatness. If you're in search for greatness, this is the city to be. You know, come here, train here, suffer. It will pay off.
Has the isolation, talked about your family's back overseas, has some of that helped the focusing? You really have nothing to do but train and concentrate on your daily goals.
Absolutely.
Here.
I have 3 things to do. I wake up in the morning. I train. I come back. I rest, sleep, eat, rest, sleep, train again. Same thing over and over and over and over again. And I have some friends here who comes by sometimes, and we play cards. But going out or partying or no. I'm just in 14 months, last 14 months, I've seen my family for a week.
How do you cope with that? How do you
It's not
manage
easy.
with that?
It's not easy, but I know that this sacrifice will pay off, and I will make it pay off. It's also a mental thing. If you sacrifice this much, if you put everything behind you and you focus on one thing, and you have a great cause behind it, there's no way you don't succeed. There's no way.
You've been doing this for a long time. How many fights under your belt altogether?
I have 31 fights.
Why MMA? Why martial arts? Why was this your journey?
As a little kid, I was always fascinated by fight sports. And I had cousins that were taekwondo fighters, taekwondo-kas, and wrestlers. And there were boxers too. So everybody was always arguing about who is the better fighter, a taekwondo-ka, a boxer, or a wrestler. But when I moved to Holland and I saw this sport for the first time, I was like, oh my God, this is all in one. I could beat any of these guys. I could beat any of my cousins if we get into a fight. So I started training this game. I fell in love with it. And I fought my first fight after 2 months of training. I had 9 amateur fights. I won them. And then I started my pro career. I was knocking people out left and right. That's when I had this belief that nobody was ever going to stop me. So I switched around weights. I was fighting 155, and then I ended up fighting 170, then 185, then 205. So I was going up and down in the weight and knocking people out. But then also it set me up, like the fights that I have lost, I know all why I lost those fights. I've made mistakes that I corrected and adjusted those mistakes. And those losses kind of shaped me into the fighter that I am today. And I will never make those same mistakes again. I've made those mistakes and I've learned from them, and I hate losing. There's nothing more that I hate than losing.
Do you understand that you have scary knockout power?
Well, I don't know that myself, I feel like I'm just throwing my punches and kicks, but they seem to be very heavy. They seem to be very heavy when I connect.
I think that's the funniest thing he's ever said. That they seem to be very heavy. They seem to be. We've got to talk to C.R. Bahadurzadeh for a while. I think I'm actually going to keep him around for one more segment. We can still go through more stuff. He's had a lot of journeys. We're going to get to know him a lot more. We have one more commercial break we're going to go to right now. There'll be more of the Cage Minds takeover of Red Menace TV with C.R. Bahadurzadeh in just a moment.
Dreamstyle Remodeling has been wowing homeowners in New Mexico since 1989. Selected as Best Custom Home Remodeler for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Albuquerque Journal, we're also your exclusive provider for top home improvement brands like Renewal by Anderson, Four Seasons, Blaze King, and many others. Founded and headquartered in Albuquerque, Dreamstyle Remodeling is family-owned and now employs more than 500 people across the southwestern U.S. In fact, we've helped more than 60,000 homeowners improve their home in New Mexico, Arizona, California, Idaho, and West Texas. We're committed to providing a superior customer experience. We've earned 4.6 stars with hundreds of online reviews and have an A+ with the BBB. Dreamstyle Remodeling is a proud supporter of UNM Athletics. Visit our beautiful 10,000 square foot showroom at 1460 Renaissance Boulevard across from Sam's Club or dreamstyleremodeling.com to make your home remodeling dreams come true.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
This is Coach Borrego of the Charlotte Hornets. Hello to all you parents out there in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I want to congratulate 38 years for the AYBL. You guys are doing a great job. You've shaped a lot of lives, young men and women, and you'll continue to do that. Parents, get involved, sign your kid up. It's a great program. It helped shape who I am today, helped shape me as a basketball player, as a coach. So get out there, sign them up. Have a great season. Good luck to everybody.
The Barley Room, proud sponsor of Proview Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
At Gala Chevrolet, our master technicians service every make and model no matter where you purchase your vehicle. But that's not all. We also provide certified service on every GM model. So if your car's been acting a little funny lately or something just doesn't seem right, don't wait. Bring it into the most modern service facility in the entire state and let us make sure that you're driving a vehicle you and your family can depend on. Service done right the first time, every time, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet.
Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Shut up.
Shut up!
That's why State Farm is there, with car insurance for when things go wrong, but also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
Talk to State Farm agent Marty Size or Michelle Rudolph in Albuquerque today.
We're back, and we got a couple minutes left with Sierra Bahadurzada. Again, remember, tune in to UFC Fight Pass. He opens up the UFC 232 card, taking on Curtis Millender, welterweight action. Back to talking to CR. CR, you fought around the world. Let's tell the fans about some of the titles that you've won and held throughout your career so far.
So, when I was fighting in Holland back in the days, I was fighting Shudo. And Shudo is one of the first MMA organizations in Japan. And some of the Shudo champions were BJ Penn, Anderson Silva, Hayato Sakurai. There's this other Japanese fighter who is very well known, Rumina Sato. So all these fighters were Shudo champs, and growing up, I was looking up to these guys.
Right.
And when I started fighting Shudo, I got my first chance when I was 23 in 2007. I fought for a belt in Japan. And when I fought in Japan for the first time, I remember sleeping like 10 hours an entire week.
Wow.
I was that excited. And when I was fighting the champion, he was the guy who had beaten my coach, and I went in there and completely dominated him. I broke his orbital bone, and he couldn't do anything the entire fight. It was just a one-way traffic. I took his belt, came back to Holland, and I defended that belt twice in Brazil, in front of full arenas, and I silenced arenas. Like, Brazilians are passionate, especially when there's an outsider coming into their territory.
And a title fight.
And a title fight, and it's the main event. So the entire arena was cheering for my opponent, and as I knocked him out, it was dead still. I was the only guy yelling and shouting in my two corners. It was a funny scene to watch. The entire arena was silent, and that was my first defense. And my second defense was also in Brazil, where I met Jose Aldo for the first time. He was a WEC champ at the time, and we exchanged shirts, and I took a picture with him at that time. It was a great experience being in the Shudo scene. But then I came back to competing in Holland. I was competing in Glory, United Glory, and they arranged a 8-man tournament from all the best welterweights who were not at the UFC at the time. It was John Alessio, the Shudo 168-pound champ, Tommy Dupre, a really good Belgian fighter who was submitting black belts left and right. Ruan Carneiro, Jucao, he was in the tournament too. And then there were two ex-UFC fighters. One was Derek Noble, and the other was Josh Thompson, I think. So the 8 of us competed for the Glory World Series belt, welterweight belt. And the first round I won by knockout in Amsterdam. The second fight was with John Alessio. I completely pummeled John Alessio in Belgium. And the third fight, I ended up fighting my teammate, Tommy Dupre, and he was a tough guy, man. He was a tough guy. I remember hitting him with everything I had in my arsenal. I could have bring the wall of China down with those punches, but this guy just took them, and I was really surprised. But then I have this mental thing that I put on when I'm going and I see that this guy's tough. I put the 6th gear, and the 6th gear is the gear that puts him out. It's that relentless punches and pressure that cooks them, and that's exactly what I did to him. And he cooked. He cooked at the end of the second round, and he gave up. He gave up to strikes.
Finishes, knockouts. The man hurts people here. He's on a 3-fight win streak, building his momentum, wanting to get into that top 10. You think a win over Curtis Millender finally gets you one of the fights you've been looking for, gets you a big name? It'll be a 4-fight win streak.
I hope so. I hope so. I'm not looking past Curtis Millender. Every fight there's a chance of, if you overlook it, there's a chance of losing. You don't want to overlook anybody. I'm not overlooking Curtis Millender. I'm going to take him seriously. I've trained really, really hard for him. I've trained with guys his height. I've trained with guys better than his striking. I've trained with guys better than his grappling. So I'm in a great shape. I'm healthy. I've always said when I'm healthy and injury-free, and I've had an injury-free camp, 7 months. When I'm healthy and injury-free, I don't think there's anybody that can stop me. And I hope to be able to humble this guy on December 29th, because he has been running his mouth. So tune in and watch me whoop Millender to surrender.
Whoop Millender to surrender. That is a great way to close out the interview. It's been great getting to talk with Siar Bahardarzada. You guys need to tune in to UFC 232. Us New Mexico fans, can't forget Bavon Lewis, Carlos Condit, John Jones, also on the card. Not to mention BJ Penn and Andrei Arlovsky, who have dropped by the Jackson Wink Gym before, or one was there for quite a while. The UFC closes out their year on Saturday, December 29th. There's also still WSOF and Ryzen events coming on the 31st. I hope everybody has a happy holidays, and I think for Red Menace TV, we'll see you guys next year. It's great getting to have you on.
Thank you, man.